Two true creepy neighbor horror stories, true scary stories, English. My name is Joe, and I recently relocated across the street. As I introduced myself, I inquired about your dog's name. Despite an odd sensation while talking, I remained polite. I introduced myself as Remy and my companion as Megan, a pseudonym. I live close to the groundskeeper with my fiancée, and I praised the pleasant environment and staff. Throughout our conversation, Joe continuously petted Remy while oddly focusing on my chest. After thanking me for allowing him to interact with my dog, he departed. Although the encounter left me unsettled, I shrugged off the unease, convincing myself it was likely insignificant. I continued to walk Remy home and noticed Joe entering his apartment building, yet watching me through the glass. Feeling a rush of anxiety, I hurried the rest of the way to my own apartment. The experience had unnerved me enough to contact the leasing office, expressing my discomfort about Joe's behavior of observing me after our initial meeting. I also requested repairs for the blinds to prevent unwanted peering into my apartment. After gathering myself, I drove to my mother-in-law's house and stayed there until my husband returned. Whenever I walked Remy and later Peach, my other dog, Joe always appeared when I was alone, attempting to strike up conversations or pet the dogs. Fortunately, Peach's protective nature deterred him. She growled at him consistently. Interestingly, he never approached when my husband accompanied me. Joe's pattern of behavior continued, including standing outside our apartment when my husband was absent, attempting to glimpse inside through the sliding door, seeking more space for our dogs and ourselves. My husband and I decided to move to a larger apartment nearby. On the day I received the keys to our new place, Joe's unsettling actions led me to involve the police. While walking both dogs, Joe pulled into the complex, signaled me to cross the road, and asked if I was content with my husband. Ignoring his inappropriate comment, I rushed inside, locked the door, and promptly reported the incident to both the leasing office and the non-emergency police line. A police officer contacted me after investigating. He verified that Joe had prior complaints from other tenants, and he discussed the matter with the property manager. The manager also revealed multiple complaints about Joe's behavior and promised to address the situation with the on-site officer. Months passed without further incidents, especially after we moved to a new apartment on the 3rd floor. Ensuring Joe couldn't pinpoint our location, I maintained a dog walking schedule that avoided running into him. The last time he tried to engage me, I walked away without allowing him to speak. I also reported an incident where he harassed my neighbor. Eventually, Joe moved out due to lease renewal issues, and I was relieved to see the end of his presence. Despite the uneasy experiences, I carried a stun gun when walking the dogs or alone. Fortunately, I never had to use it, and I'm grateful that Joe's unsettling behavior came to an end. After Joe moved out, the atmosphere around the apartment complex became notably more relaxed. With his departure, the tension and unease that had hung in the air seemed to dissipate. It was a welcome relief for me and the other residents who had been affected by his unsettling behavior. Without Joe's constant presence, I could finally walk my dogs and go about my daily routines without that nagging sense of being watched or approached. The new apartment on the 3rd floor provided an extra layer of privacy and peace of mind. As time passed, my husband and I settled into our new space, enjoying the added room and the fresh start. The dogs seemed happier too, without the stress of encountering Joe during our walks. I still maintained a certain level of caution, keeping the stun gun handy just in case. It served as a reassuring safety measure, a reminder that I was prepared to protect myself if the need ever arose. Months turned into years, and the memory of Joe's unsettling behavior started to fade. Life returned to a sense of normalcy, and the apartment complex became a place of comfort rather than apprehension. Looking back, the experience with Joe taught me the importance of trusting my instincts and taking action when faced with discomfort or danger. It reinforced the significance of speaking up and seeking help from authorities and management when faced with unsettling situations. In the end, I was grateful for the support of law enforcement, the property management, and the protective nature of my dogs. Their collective efforts helped bring an end to a chapter of unease and allow me to reclaim a sense of safety and tranquility in my living environment. Let's get moving in story 2. Don't forget to kindly hit the like button and subscribe to my channel at Dark Shadow. Thanks for watching. Let's move on. Over a decade ago, during the early cusp of my teenage years, a chilling and horrifying event unfolded in my life. It all began when my friend and I were aimlessly exploring our neighborhood, a seemingly innocent activity we often indulged in. Little did we know that this ordinary excursion would soon turn into a nightmarish ordeal that would forever haunt our memories. We had ventured several blocks away from the safety of our home when we encountered a pair of menacing pit bulls. These fierce creatures were already barking wildly, their savage growls filling the air with an unmistakable sense of danger. Their eyes gleamed with a sinister hunger as they fixated on us, two vulnerable souls passing by their territory. As we passed their house, the dogs' behavior grew increasingly frenzied. We could see them desperately digging beneath the rickety fence, a testament to their relentless attempts to break free. Panic surged through us as it became apparent that the canines were on the brink of escaping their confines. In a desperate bid to escape their wrath, my friend and I sprinted away, our hearts pounding in our chests. Just as our hearts raced, so did the dogs, their relentless pursuit making it clear that they would stop at nothing to reach us. Our breathless flight led us into an unfamiliar yard, where a gnarled tree stood as our only refuge. With adrenaline coursing through our veins, we scrambled up the tree's branches, finding a precarious sanctuary just out of reach of the snapping jaws below. The owner of the yard, an enigmatic figure of around 50 years, emerged from his abode, seemingly unfazed by the frenzied dogs that had cornered us. His sinister smile sent shivers down our spines as he beckoned us toward his garage, promising safety within its confines. The urgency in his voice and the malicious glint in his eyes revealed a malevolent intent that struck terror into our very souls. A silent exchange of dread passed between my friend and me, our unspoken realization that this man was not to be trusted. The dark clouds of danger hung heavy in the air, and we understood that our lives were in jeopardy. Politely declining his offer, we feigned calmness, though our hearts raced with the knowledge that escape was our only hope. Undeterred by our refusal, The man's advances grew more aggressive. He lurked beneath the tree, his predatory presence inching closer to our trembling forms. The realization that his sinister intentions were closing in was suffocating, and panic seized us with a grip as unrelenting as the pit bulls below. The fiendish man's gaze shifted frantically, a twisted dance of paranoia ensuring that no witnesses were present to foil his malevolent plans. Yet, in a surreal twist of fate, a passerby strolled into the scene, walking their own unsuspecting dog. Seizing the opportunity, we leapt from the tree, hurtling toward this stranger like a lifeline. Our fabricated familiarity with the passerby, born from desperation and fear, allowed us to escape the clutches of our tormentor. As we ran, we could feel his malevolent stare burning into our backs, a chilling reminder of the horrors we had narrowly evaded. Years later, the echoes of this terrifying encounter still reverberate through my memories. The sinister man, forever etched into the annals of my past, serves as a haunting reminder that true horror often hides behind the facade of normalcy. In the dark year of 2019, a chapter of dread unfolded in my life that still casts a chilling shadow over my thoughts. This tale takes place in a first apartment shared with my husband, a period of vulnerability and uncertainty that created the perfect breeding ground for fear. At that time, my days were shrouded in a sense of aimlessness. Struggling to find employment in a new city, I found myself homebound while my husband went out to work. Each day, I would embark on a routine walk with Remy, my loyal canine companion, along a familiar path that had become a small source of stability in a sea of uncertainty. This routine would lead us from our apartment to the leasing office, then across the street near the basketball courts and tennis courts before completing our journey around the apartment complex. However, one fateful day, the ordinary took an ominous turn, plunging me into a world of terror I had never imagined. The first eerie encounter occurred when I noticed a man in his 40s, his graying hair and glasses adding an air of malevolence to his appearance. As I walked Remy, his gaze locked onto us with an unsettling intensity. It was as though he saw through the veil of normalcy and into the depths of our vulnerability. Curiosity morphed into something more sinister when he questioned the temperament of my dog. With a hint of darkness, he inquired if she was aggressive. My response was polite but cautious, reassuring him that Remy merely had a tendency to jump on people out of excitement. Little did I know that this seemingly innocuous interaction was the catalyst for the terror that would unfold. His gaze, cold and calculating, moved from my eyes to my chest, an unwelcome scrutiny that made my skin crawl. His request to pet Remy was granted, fueled by the dog's friendly demeanor. Yet, as his hand touched her fur, a wave of dread washed over me. It was as if a malevolent force emanated from him, sending shivers down my spine. As he petted Remy, his words took on a sinister undertone. He initiated a conversation, all the while his eyes never leaving my form. The air grew heavy with a palpable tension, the unsettling feeling of being watched evolving into a nightmare where every instinct screamed danger. Our conversation reached a chilling crescendo as he probed further, asking personal questions that breached the boundaries of propriety. The twisted smile that curved his lips and the predatory glint in his eyes left no room for doubt. He was a predator, a lurking danger that had encroached upon my sanctuary. My heart pounded as I desperately sought an escape from this nightmare. The gravity of the situation weighed on me, a realization that I was trapped with a malevolent presence. Panic surged through my veins, the walls closing in as his demeanor grew increasingly ominous. The minutes stretched into an eternity, his malevolence a suffocating presence. Time stood still as I grappled with the enormity of the danger I faced. In the end, a deception born of desperation saved me. A passerby appeared on the horizon, and I seized the opportunity to escape. With a fabricated familiarity, I abandoned the sinister man, running toward the new figure as if my life depended on it. As I fled, I could feel his gaze piercing through my back, a lingering reminder of the horror that had unfolded. The encounter was over, but the scars it left behind would never truly heal. The sinister man's face, etched in the darkest corners of my memory, serves as a haunting reminder that true terror can emerge from the most ordinary of circumstances.